Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Namibia. Now, to start off with the conversations this morning, the State of the Nation address, a constitutional mandate, an annual custom in which the country's first citizen serves as its head of state, presents the government's comprehensive agenda for the upcoming year. Yesterday, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah delivered her first State of the Nation address, and to further unpack and analyze SONA 2025, we're joined in studio by Mr. Jackpelins Muundjua, who is a lecturer of public management at the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Mr. Muundjua, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Dapewa. Good morning, Namibians.
All right. What do you make of yesterday's State of Nation address?
It was assertive, it was structured, and also it showed a reflection of a country that recognizes its challenges and opportunities. It shows reform from the legislature side. She showed confidence in what she's saying, and she wants that to be implemented. And it is important that as Namibians, we need to help her achieve such a milestones that actually focus much on national development and creating a path for Namibia to be an industrialized country.
All right. Yesterday marked 35 years of the president being in office, that is. What would you say are some of your observations since the 21st of March, some of the changes that you'd like?
I think one of a key priority, one of the key agency particularly is to make sure that she focus on the key priority areas, the 7 priority areas and the 8 enablers that actually depict in the SWAPO manifesto. That's one of the key aspects that you need to achieve. And actually she has said it many times. And it's also important that her leadership has embraced a continuity of transformations where she focuses on youth development, creative industries, value additions, and identification of national resources from the Namibian side, from Namibian people.
Yeah. Now, seeing the 7 key areas that were prioritized yesterday, is there perhaps one that you think the president left out that needs to, those that perhaps need to be heeded in order for Namibia to become great again?
Those key priorities are mostly in, they are reflected in the SOPA manifesto, we've seen them, but also there are certain aspects from our side as an academic in the area of public management. Governance is most important. And I've seen that she failed to mention governance because without governance you cannot implement. You need governance, you need monitoring and evaluations, you need policies. These are very important because when you have these on the ground, it will be very easy to implement.
All right. The president also spoke of understanding the corresponding relationship between education, hunger and poverty by the national school feeding, guaranteeing a daily meal of close to about $1 million. What is your view on this, and will it have an impact on school attendance?
It has a positive impact because it will encourage young learners or learners to attend school and to perform better, but not only in the short term. But in longer terms, it's not going to end poverty because when you have to end poverty, not every country in the global south have tried to end poverty. It actually, she mentioned that ministry need to include strategies on how they can eradicate poverty, but maybe we need to take it from that line.
All right. And seeing that now all the ministries do have that Directorate of Poverty Eradication.
Because these are new ministries, it depends on how they are going to restructure themselves. But it's important that creating jobs is one of the key priority area to end poverty. When people have jobs, they can sustain their families.
All right. On agriculture, the president quoted the founding president saying, "A nation that cannot feed itself will never be respected," and emphasized that with the 8th administration, it aims to reduce agriculture imports by 80%. What are some of your sentiments on that, and also do you think it can be achieved, and what impact do you think it will have on Namibia?
First, we need to look at the land we have as a country. And we'll go back again and look at the willing seller, willing buyer approach that we have had for so many years. That was wrong from my own views and opinions because you buy a farm, you give it to an individual who will do nothing. So it is important that the government will have to embark on a different approach. You buy farms and then you the people must invest in those farms to produce food productions. And also, what is also important is we need to work on she mentioned of 561 million Namibian dollars that will be invested on agri infrastructures, green scheme, and so forth. And also, the other important thing is to look at land climate change. It's important that we find ways to mitigate climate change.
Yesterday, I think one of the highlights that stood out for everybody was to say that there will be free tertiary education, that is, of course, from public institutions. From your point of view, being a lecturer at one of the universities, becoming, and we were looking at free registration fees and basically just no tertiary fees at all, what impact do you think this will have on the education system in the country?
It was astonishing. I was standing in front of a TV and said, free higher education, you understand? And I said, free higher education, next year. It's something that we said maybe after 3 years, we need to plan, we need to engage universities, because we are universities, and tuition fees were our key funding area, where we have operations, we have our research, we have our laboratories, we have staff development, all these things were funded by the tuition fees. And it's something good for the student side, something good for the parent side, because we know that our parents are struggling to pay even the registration. But also from the university side, it needs planning, it needs to bring everybody on board, universities, stakeholders, to indulge on what the best approach we can take. It's something good as a country, but we are too young as a nation because as I'm saying now, only few countries, Scandinavian countries, that have free educations. These are developed countries that have achieved almost most of their 17 SDG goals. And we haven't achieved one of them, even 50% of the SDG goals. But I don't know how we're going to do it, but it's something euphoria to the Namibian people, to the Namibian parents.
All right. What do you make of Dr. Job Mpande's suggestion of an education model where the workforce should contribute $50 and employers supplement it?
At this moment, at this point in time, it is difficult. The economy, we're into inflation. There's no money into the economy. It's difficult now. It's something that we need to plan and say, maybe after 5 years, after 10 years, we can have the $50 contribution from every taxpayer. But from now, I think it's not going to be a good approach to deduct that $50 from every taxpayer.
All right. One of the top priorities under review is the employment of the youth, and everybody keeps talking about youth unemployment. But with this high rate of unemployment in the country over the years, how crucial is effective governance in socio-economic development and also just social cohesion?
I think when you talk about effective governance, we have to talk about accountability and transparency, and when it comes to service delivery. And it's important that the use of resources may also promote unemployment among the youth, and it's very important that we look at the dignity in public life, economic justice, and all these aspects.
All right. What do you make of the old age grant that can unfortunately not be increased this time around?
I think she'll have maybe at least put something on the table, whether 250 or 500. But it's important that he mentioned good projects that actually replaces the pension fund, because we know that the parents have struggled in terms of paying that tertiary education. If you have to pay close to 30,000, 50,000, and the government's taking over now, I think we should give them time. We should give the president time until we have the key priority projects before because I know the parents out there will understand, especially when you come to the project of free higher education. It's not something easy. It's not something that will be achieved now, but it needs a lot of interventions from all stakeholders, and that's why it's important that the pension fund should be on hiatus for now.
Let's talk about the creative industry. I think one of the sectors that also stood out yesterday is the creative industry yesterday, where millions were actually put away for those awards. What are your sentiments on that?
I think when when you talk about creative industries, we are new as a country and we haven't embarked much on that, but actually we need to invest much of the money into the universities where they focus much on research and innovation for creative industries. And it's important that as a country that our youth on the other side should be actually at the forefront of being one of the leaders in creative industries.
All right. But overall, what stood out for you yesterday at the State of the Nation address?
I see the euphoria amongst Namibians, not just the legislators, but us as citizens, because she came forth as a president and she said what she wants from Namibia, and that shows charismatic. The moment you say something what the people want, you do something that the people want, that I call charismatic leadership, and she has the charismatic leadership. She will win many Namibian faces on what she has put on the table, and if that is implemented, I think Namibia will be a good country in the next 10 to 50 years.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your analysis, sir. We definitely do appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right. That was Jackpelins Muundjua, who is a public management lecturer at the Namibia University of Science and Technology, giving us his analysis with regards to yesterday's State of Nation address that was basically addressed by President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah.